He was not the son of wealthy parents and was not born into a world of luxury. Yet this very boy became one of the most influential figures in the world, founding a company that forever changed the industry. Join us to discover how overcoming hardships, competition, and economic crises became part of Henry Ford's journey, and how his ideas continue to inspire new generations of engineers and entrepreneurs today. Henry Ford was born on July 30th, 1863, in the small town of Dearborn, Michigan. His family were farmers. His father, William Ford, was a landowner, and his mother, Mary, managed the household. However, life on the farm never appealed to Henry. He felt no attachment to the land and did not share his parents' passion for hard physical labor. From a young age, Henry sought ways to ease the work he found dull and unending. As a teenager, his father gave him a watch repair kit. He took the watch apart and put it back together, marking his first real encounter with machinery. This moment set the tone for his life. He was no longer interested in simple farming duties. He wanted to create something new and work with mechanisms. As is often the case, those around him did not always understand his interests. Many thought he was strange for spending more time in his workshop than in the fields. But his passion for technology and innovation became his guiding star. Using whatever materials were available, he started creating his first machines and devices, starting with simple mechanisms that made farm work easier. At the age of 14, Henry had a transformative experience when he encountered a steam engine for the first time. He was so struck by what he saw that the memory stayed with him forever. Henry realized that the future lay in machinery, and that was what he wanted to study and create. His fascination with technology led him to a life-changing decision. At 15, unable to endure the relentless demands of farm life, he left home and moved to Detroit. It was a difficult choice, but Henry knew it was the only way to pursue his dream of becoming an engineer and inventor. Leaving home became a crucial step on his path to self-discovery. Without family support or a steady income, he started working in various factories where he could learn about machinery and engines. This period provided him with not only practical experience, but also opened up a world of possibilities. One of his jobs at the Detroit Dry Dock Company brought him into contact with real engineering for the first time. Working with steam engines and crafting parts for steamboats, Henry's knowledge grew daily. Yet Ford felt this wasn't enough. He dreamed of something greater. He began studying mechanics through books, jotting down notes and sketching his own ideas. These self-directed studies led him to the realization that he needed to start his own venture. However, at that time, his experience was limited and his resources were scarce. He understood that to bring his ideas to life, he needed more knowledge and opportunities. Ford persevered, and his journey eventually led him to a significant turning point, a position at the Edison Illuminating Company. This enterprise, founded by Thomas Edison, was more than just a company. It was a training ground for engineers. Ford was drawn not only by the chance to work with electricity, but also by the opportunity to interact with some of the brightest minds of his era. However, Ford's dreams of building his own automobile soon became more important to him than working for someone else. He began developing his first automobile during his free time while still employed at Edison Illuminating. But these initial attempts were far from successful. He faced countless technical challenges and a severe lack of funding. Yet these setbacks did not break him. On the contrary, they strengthened his resolve and honed his determination. In 1905, Ford succeeded in assembling his first functional vehicle, the Ford quadricycle. Despite his technical success, Ford still struggled to attract significant investment. A pivotal moment came when he connected with key figures in the industrial world. Ford met John and Horace Dodge, investors who recognized the potential of his ideas. This meeting proved critical for his career, leading to the founding of the Ford Motor Company later that same year. With support from his new partners and investors, Ford was able to assemble a team that shared his ambitious vision. By this time, Ford had a clear goal: to create a car that was affordable not only for the wealthy, but also for ordinary Americans. Initially, the company faced numerous challenges. Production was slow, and the cars were expensive. However, Ford understood that the key to success lay in mass production. The most significant breakthrough came in 1906 with the introduction of assembly line production. This innovation was nothing short of revolutionary. Prior to this, cars were assembled by hand, a process that was both time-consuming and expensive. By implementing the assembly line, Ford dramatically increased productivity and reduced manufacturing costs. The first model to reach the mass market was the Ford Model T, unveiled in 1908. Priced at just $850, it was remarkably affordable for the era. The Model T became a symbol of automotive accessibility for ordinary people and was one of Henry Ford's crowning achievements. The company began exporting cars internationally, while Ford worked on refining the Model T and introducing new technologies. This cemented his name as synonymous with quality and affordability. Despite these achievements, not everything ran smoothly. Ford encountered internal struggles, including growing competition and tensions with his own business partners. Some investors disagreed with his approaches and sought greater control over the company. Eventually, he managed to take full control of Ford Motor Company and continued pursuing his mission. In 1910, he made a groundbreaking decision that shook the industrial world. He raised his workers' wages to $5 a day, more than double what other factories were offering at the time. This decision sparked widespread controversy and even dissatisfaction among some of his peers and other businessmen, who deemed such policies excessive. However, Ford understood that increasing wages would not only boost worker morale, but also lead to higher productivity. He believed it was essential for his workers to afford the very cars they were manufacturing, creating a sustainable market for his products. By the late 1920s, Henry Ford realized that his company could no longer rely on the iconic Model T, which had been the cornerstone of mass production. Competitors like Chevrolet and Chrysler were catching up in terms of speed, quality, and innovation. The changing market dynamics and consumer preferences forced Ford to make a bold decision: to retire the Model T and focus on a completely new vehicle. In 1929, amid the onset of the Great Depression, Ford introduced the Model A, a car designed to meet the challenges of a new era. With a more powerful engine, improved suspension, and a modernized design, the Model A combined comfort, performance, and affordability, aligning with the demands of consumers at the time. However, the transition to this new model was neither simple nor cheap. The Model A marked not just a shift in product design, but also a transformation in production practices. Ford recognized that the success of the Model A would require modernized factories and updated manufacturing techniques. By incorporating cutting-edge technology and rethinking workflows, he streamlined the production process and reduced costs. Even so, the global economic downturn brought on by the 1929 financial crisis dampened consumer demand, making it difficult to achieve strong sales despite the car's innovations. Still, the move to the Model A and the accompanying restructuring provided Ford with a temporary resurgence in market leadership. The company began recovering its position, albeit at significant financial cost. It demonstrated his willingness to confront challenges head-on while remaining true to his principles of innovation and accessibility, even in the face of global economic and industrial transformation. By the end of his life, Henry Ford had become not only one of the most successful entrepreneurs of his time, but also a symbol of the Industrial Revolution. His ideas about mass production and affordable automobiles made his name famous worldwide. The Ford Motor Company continued to be a leader in the automotive industry, and the Model T and Model A went down in history as symbols of an era. However, despite his achievements, Ford faced even greater challenges in the later years of his life. The Great Depression, which affected every corner of the world, did not spare his company. Ford, like many other businessmen, found himself under pressure from economic hardships, but his perseverance and innovative approach helped him overcome the crises. Ford not only transformed production processes, but also significantly impacted people's lives. His decision to raise wages for workers, his care for working conditions, all of this became part of his philosophy. He was convinced that the success of a company directly depended on the well-being of its employees. Ultimately, his approach to management and labor organization became the basis for many subsequent generations of entrepreneurs. In his later years, Ford stepped away from active management of the company, transferring control to his descendants and key employees. However, his influence on the automotive industry and society as a whole continued. He left behind not only an empire in the field of automobile manufacturing, but also a vast legacy that continued to live on even after his death. Henry Ford died in 1947, But his philosophy and achievements did not fade into the past. The Ford Motor Company continued to develop and grow. Henry Ford became a symbol of the entrepreneurial spirit, which cannot be stopped by difficulties or crises. His life and achievements are a story of how one person can change the world.
Friends, this is probably all for today. Write your opinion about this amazing story in the comments. Also rate the video and subscribe to the channel, and we will do our best for you.